Franco-Siamese War, Indo-French War, and the First Indochina War. 1893, the French Third Republic wanted Laos to be part of the French Indochina. France strategically invaded where there were Vietnamese rebels. The Kingdom of Siam then let Laos be part of French Indochina. Indo-French War. Starting at 1883, France has been expanding French Indochina's territory. China saw this coming and got their troops and fought in battles. China wanted to negotiate with France, making Vietnam a joint project, which France declined. France continued invading where they took control of North Vietnam. The First Indochina War was a result of angry Vietnamese rebels sick of France taking their land. China supported them with weapons and training. Vietnamese rebels entered North Vietnam and attacked, with rebels winning, gave independence of Laos and Cambodia.
As we can see on this map, this is where France controlled Southeast Asia. They gained the land by invading with strong armies.
Any economic progress that was made in Vietnam after 1900 only supported the French. Also, the area devoted to rice planting grew 4 times larger than its original size from 1880 to 1930. But at the same time, the amount of rice the peasants were getting decreased. The peasant share of the rice sold at the market was less than 25%. Due to this loss of profits, peasants continually lost their land to the large owners because they were unable to repay loans given to them by the landlords because of unfair interest rates. Before World War II in Vietnam, half the population was without land. Another way of making the Vietnamese pay for the projects undertaken for the benefit of the French was forced labor for public projects and no protection against exploitation in the mines and rubber plantations. There were also terrible working conditions, low salaries, and a lack of medical care. Not only were rubber plantations, mines, and industrial enterprises in foreign hands, which were the French's, but where all other businesses were substantial, the Chinese controlled all the lower levels. And all other businesses were also controlled, from local trade to the great export and import houses, basically preventing the lower classes from making decent wages. Also, in 1939, only 15% of all school-age children received any kind of schooling, and 80% of the population was illiterate, in comparison to pre-colonial times when the majority of the people possessed at least some degree of literacy. With more than 20 million inhabitants in 1939, Vietnam had one university with less than 700 students. Only a small number of Vietnamese children were admitted to the lycées, which were secondary schools, for the children of the French. Medical care was well organized for the French in cities, but in 1939 there were only 2 physicians for every 100,000 Vietnamese, compared with 76 for every 100,000 in Japan and 25 for every 100,000 in the Philippines.
We now have an interview with a native farmer.
Hi, I'm a simple Vietnamese farmer. I'm used to having a wide, diverse crops, but now since France took over my land, the only thing I grow now is rice. I'm now also making less money than I was before. I'm having trouble supporting my family amidst the times before French Indochina.
Reasons for imperialism in French Indochina. In the late 1800s, France was among the world's greatest powers. It controlled land in Africa, South America, and the 3 countries that made up French Indochina: Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. Having control over all of this land helped France strengthen its power, wealth, and influence. There were many reasons as to why France decided to integrate imperialism into Indochina. They felt like they had to be superior to the United Kingdom, so they tried to spread their ways and cultures to the east. Religion played a role in the imperialism of Indochina because France also wanted to protect the religious missions in the Indochina area. They felt like Catholicism was in danger of being exterminated in the Far East, so they wanted to protect it. It was also very important to them to find a southern route through China so their trading could become more plentiful. France, being an imperial nation, felt that the natives in their colonies were inferior and in need of the French culture to defeat their backwardness of their society. Racism like this was the reason that France sought to weaken the traditional source of authority. The reformation of the education system was one of the most important tasks in French Indochina, and was done to revert indigenous culture. They were doing all of the hard work, and France was becoming more powerful from their trading with China. The French had also modernized the nation by building railroads, which connected the major cities and important trade centers. They also introduced electricity to Indochina. Finally, the French took control of the government. Frenchmen held most of the important government and public service positions, and the few Indochinese who did hold a position earned only a small portion of the wages the Frenchmen were earning. France imperialized Indochina in many ways, and most was not beneficial to the natives, but it has shaped the way the Indochina area is to this day, both positively and negatively. An example of a French imperialist missionary in this time would be like this. I am a French missionary, and I am very worried. I am worried about my faith, Catholicism, and I'm worried that it's going extinct, and there is nothing I can do about it. I need to spread my religion to these native Indochinese people, so it won't become exterminated. I am going to force my beliefs onto them by building more missions and making Catholicism the main religion of Indochina. I need to imperialize these people because all of my cultural and other beliefs are superior to theirs.